Where the heck had he come from? She'd never seen him in Dolphin Bay before, that was for sure. Dark-haired, tall and powerfully built, his broad shoulders and muscular arms strained against his black t-shirt, his hard thighs against the worn denim of his jeans. His heavy black boots were hardly seaside resort wear, but they worked. Boy, did they work. No wonder the two young waitresses on duty stampeded past her to show him to the best table in the house. She had to hold herself back from pulling rank and elbowing them out of the way to get to him first. His stance was easy, confident, as he waited to be shown to a table. Her heart started to pound a double-quick time. When had she last felt the kind of awareness of a man that made her ache for him to notice her? But when his gaze did turn in her direction, she quickly ducked her head and studiously read the label on the wine bottle without registering a single word. She looked up again to see the young waitress who had won the race to get to him first, looking up at him in open admiration and laughing at something he'd said. Did the guy realize half the female heads in the room had swiveled to attention when he'd strode in? Not that he looked like he cared much about what people thought. His dark brown hair was several months away from a haircut, shoved back off his face with his fingers rather than a comb, by the look of it. The dark growth on his jaw was halfway to a beard. He looked untamed, sexy, and dangerous. Way too dangerous. She was shocked by the powerful punch of attraction that slammed her. The kind of visceral pull that had caused her such terrible hurt in the past. That was so different from how she'd felt for safe, familiar Jesse. She never wanted to feel again for any man that wild compulsion. The kind, when it had got out of control, that had led her down paths she never wanted to revisit. Not now. Not ever. She let the smile freeze on her face, stepped back and watched the other girl usher the handsome stranger to his table. She would hold off on her obligatory meet and greet to a new customer until she'd got herself together enough to mask her awareness of his appeal with breezy nonchalance. To use the light, semi-flirtatious tone that worked so well in hospitality. Because, after all, he was just a stranger who'd breezed into town. She'd overreacted, big time. She didn't need to fear that rush of attraction for an unsuitable man. He was just a customer she would never see again after he'd finished his lunch and moved on. He didn't even seem the kind of guy who would leave a generous tip. Sam Lancaster knew he should be admiring the glorious view of the Dolphin Bay Harbour. With its heritage-listed stone breakwaters, its fleet of fishing vessels, and beyond, the aquamarine waters of the Pacific Ocean. This stretch of the New South Wales south coast was known for its scenic beauty. But he couldn't keep his eyes off the even more appealing view of the sassy red-haired front-of-house manager, who flitted from table to table in the hotel harbourside restaurant, pausing to chat with each customer about their orders. Sam wasn't in the habit of flirting with strangers. He wasn't the type of man who always had a ready quip for a pretty flight attendant, a cute girl behind a bar, or a hot new trainer at the gym. Consequently, he was stymied by his out-of-the-blue attraction to this woman. She hadn't reached his table yet, and he found himself willing her to turn his way. In his head, he played over and over what clever remark he might utter when she did. She wasn't movie star beautiful, but there was a vibrancy about her that kept his gaze returning to her again and again. The way the sunlight streaming through the windows turned the auburn of her tied-back hair to a glorious flaming halo, the sensual sway of her hips in the modest black skirt, the murmur of her laughter as she chatted to a customer. All were compelling, but when she finally headed his way, the warmth of her wide smile and the welcome that lit her green eyes made him forget every word he had rehearsed. Her smile was of the practiced meet-and-greet type she'd bestowed on every other customer in the room. He knew that, but that didn't make it any less entrancing.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.